well, you get everything, do not occur in a uniform blanket around the crust of the earth. They occur in veins like gold and silver. Okay. In some places, they only have 3 minerals. If you're not supplementing with all 60, you're 57 short. You're going to get all these diseases, okay, including what we're talking about today. Now, when you're talking about the cholesterol issue, doctors, we're looking at clogged arteries, and they're saying, okay, the clogging the arteries is caused by eating cholesterol. Stop eating eggs, stop eating fatty meats, be more like a vegetarian, and you won't get plaque in your arteries. Well, that was nonsense, because plaque in the arteries was caused by eating fried foods, processed meats with nitrates and nitrates, and being short in minerals. Okay, because again, nutritional minerals do not occur in a uniform blanket around the crust of the earth. They occur in veins like gold and silver. And we did have bottomland. Some of you are old enough to remember bottomland. Every spring, when the snow and the ice would melt up in the mountains, they'd have these big floods coming down into the valleys, and they would pick up the minerals along the way, okay, in the soil up in the mountains, and bring it down to the valleys and replace the minerals in the soil in the bottomland had been taken out by the plants in the previous year, by the crops in the previous year. When they came out with hydroelectric, where they put up the dams, dammed up the rivers and streams so there was no more flooding, no more silt to plow back in the soil every year, suddenly now we had all these diseases nobody ever seen before. Okay, it was a mess. Okay, now let's get back to cholesterol, because it's all kind of related. Cholesterol makes up 25% of your brain weight, 25% of your spinal cord weight, makes up 95% of testosterone weight, 95% of estrogen progesterone weight. Cholesterol is an extremely important raw material for basic tissues and function, okay? And when doctors said, oh, it's the cholesterol, they came out with drugs, like statin drugs, to lower the cholesterol in your body. And then people said, oh, we'll stop eating eggs and animal fat, and you'll lower cholesterol. And suddenly now we have all these diseases that are cholesterol deficiency diseases, okay? So it's absolutely imperative to eat 3 eggs twice a day with soft yolks. Kids can have 1 or 2 scrambled eggs in butter, okay? Soft scrambled, soft boiled, soft poached, not fried, okay? And not hard boiled. Then people say, oh, they get Alzheimer's disease, you get all this stuff because of cholesterol. No. Heart attacks are not caused by cholesterol. Brain stuff is not caused by cholesterol. It's caused by cholesterol deficiency, okay? And so this is not difficult. And so that's why we have I-26. It says right on the label, provides 25% of your daily requirement of cholesterol. We have the only product in the market that has on the label saying that it gives you a percentage of the cholesterol you need every day as a supplement, okay? That goes along with your Healthy Brain and Heart Pack and your 3 eggs twice a day with soft yolks. And it's imperative, okay? And when doctors say, oh, your cholesterol is too high, we got to get you on statin drugs, say, okay, doctor, you're fired, and go away and find another doctor, okay? Because you'll wind up with Alzheimer's disease. You'll wind up with MS, multiple sclerosis. You'll wind up with Guillain-Barré disease, which Guillain-Barré disease is a multiple sclerosis of your spinal cord. And then there's Parkinson's disease, which is multiple sclerosis with tremors. And then there's the new one, which is FTD, okay, frontal temporal dementia, which is kind of like a little regional Alzheimer's disease, okay? And then the demyelinization. Now, they only learned 100 years ago, and before that, they could only learn about demyelinization after you died and they did an autopsy on you, because most people are not going to let a doctor do a biopsy of your brain, okay? Okay, but demyelinization is a cholesterol deficiency. And so if you want to have a great sex life, in addition to taking your Healthy Brain and Heart Pack, you throw in a guy, you want to throw in the Zera test, girls, you want to throw in the Zera Femme. Don't forget your, let's see here. You also want to throw in the I-26. And it's one of those things where you want to make sure you're taking everything you need to make sure your skull is working properly. You don't have osteoporosis of the skull, because doctors are going to really blame a lot of those symptoms on cholesterol and take you off of all cholesterol and put you on cholesterol-lowering drugs, and you'll spiral downwards and die very quickly. Okay, so with that said, that's sort of a summary of what I want to talk about cholesterol. Cholesterol is one of your best friends. If you like sex, you want cholesterol. If you like your memory, you want cholesterol. If you want to be able to function and perform at your job and get promoted all the time, you want cholesterol. And so again, 75-year track record here in the book, The Wallach Revolution, and of course, epigenetics. Those two books together, I think, are a good set. Okay, there you go, epigenetics, and it's all in your head. And don't forget that one. And of course, Rebecca and Dr. Milan and I did that. And there's a CD that goes along with it, because a year after this book came out, we're getting so much great positive feedback. We did a CD with more information. So when the supply of the book gets low, we're going to add a lot of this information, new information to the book, but we'll keep the CD anyway, because people like to listen to that CD. So, and if you want proof about why we're in trouble, because when we went to electricity, okay, after 3,000 years of getting our minerals from wood ashes and coal ashes, get the book Hell's Kitchen. Just like a bad area in New York City where everything bad happens, okay? Hell's Kitchen. These things will tell you what's going on here. Get a hold of that book. Let's see here. Rare Earthsman Cures. Rare Earthsman Cures. Do you have a third hand?
4 or 5, Doc.
Okay, Rare Earthsman Cures. There you go. Tells you how to collect hair, where to ship it, how to read the hair analyses. Everybody should be getting a hair analysis once a year. You do not need permission from a doctor to get a hair analysis. And you can only learn from a blood test about your blood levels of iron and also calcium. There's 60 essential minerals that you can't tell much about from a blood sample, okay, but you can from the hair analysis. Also, the hair analysis has another chart in it, which gives you how many toxic minerals you have and how much of each toxic mineral you have. You know, we're talking about lead and mercury and uranium and so on and so forth. And these are things, if you want to add these 25 to 50 healthy years of your life, you got to do this. And then I'm going to throw in, I think I've got, what, 2 minutes here? Something like that?
Something like that. Something like that. What do you want to throw in?
Well, let me give me 2 more minutes. Okay. And so I want to talk about Jimmy Carter. He's 98. You know, I'm not into his politics, but he's 98 years old. And his doctors wanted to put him into hospice because he's 98 years old. Not because they had anything wrong with him, but he's 98 years old. Say, let's put you in hospice so we can take care of you if something happens. And he says, no, thank you. I'll just go home. And he did, 98 years old. And he's lived on grits, which is cornmeal, and eggs, which you're not supposed to have. He's lived on, let's see here, seafood and vegetables and fruit. And he lives on what they say, corn and all that kind of stuff. And he only had peanuts like once a week, not every day. And he was a peanut guy. And so the odds are he can live to be 120. Now, he's the oldest living president ever. And, you know, he told the doctors to take off when they said that you need to come in and get into hospice. Well, why? Well, you're 98 years old. Well, age has nothing to do with the need to go into hospice. If you're, you know, dying because you have 18 different diseases and you can't breathe and stuff, you might want to go into hospice. But if there's nothing wrong with you and you're playing golf once a week like he is, okay, and going fishing and hunting on a regular basis, why would you want to go into hospice? Well, my doctor said, okay, so I think I've made my point. Eat like Jimmy Carter. Take our 90 essential nutrients. Stay away from all the bad stuff and add 25 to 50 healthy years of your life. We want you around. Over to you, Becca.
I'm going to leave out the peanuts just because.
Yeah, I don't take them at all. I don't take them at all.
No, nor do I. Well, Dr. Wallach, I hope that makes some clarity for people. in regards to cholesterol? Because that's one of the very first things that people come to me with when they have gone to the doctor, they've gotten some blood work back, and they say, well, my cholesterol is high. My first question is, well, what is high? Because I know people that they've been at 105, Dr. Wallach, on their cholesterol, and they're being put on a statin drug. And 105 is very low as it is.
Yes.
And they're still wanting it to be lower. And then we wonder, why do we have so many people that are struggling with brain function? Well, and that's, he's an extreme, but I'm talking about, it's like an epidemic, Dr. Wallach,
Yes.
where people, they've got brain fog, they're not able to function, they get tired easily, their memory.
Well, that's because the medical profession is putting out misinformation about cholesterol, and insurance pays for the test, and insurance pays for the medication. So people say, well, what the heck? Insurance pays for everything. If it makes the doctor happy, let the insurance pay for it, and I'll do it. Well, Bruce Willis paid a price. Okay, he's only 67 years old and he had to retire. Can't remember his own name. Can't remember where he lives. I mean, that's a terrible thing for the diehard detective. He was one of my heroes. So we're trying to connect with his family, and because I believe we can bring Bruce Willis back, okay, to being the diehard Bruce Willis that I knew and loved and respected.
Well, until you are no longer requiring oxygen, there's a lot you can still do, right? Now,
you need cholesterol.
Yeah, you need cholesterol. Oh my goodness, lots of great information. Thank you so much for taking the time, everybody, to join us and just be a sponge with the information that's being shared, so that whenever the time comes and you're talking to somebody, you can just squeeze a little bit of water out and say, you know what? I heard this doctor talking about cholesterol, and I know that there's a recording somewhere. How would you like to listen to it? Well, you can send them to dailywithdoc.com, and there you will find the recordings of all of our programs that we have done, Dr. Wallach, since we were doing Ask Doc Live each and every Friday for 2 hours, way back July of 2020. So 2.5 years ago, we were doing that. So we have been gathering together and sharing information for a few years now, Dr. Wallach, and it's just getting better and better and better. I love it.
Can't thank you enough.
Well, thank you, Dr. Wallach, because if it wasn't for your research, we wouldn't have anything to share.
Well,
right?
Well, your team and myself, the whole group, we make a good team, don't we?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And I just want to do a quick little reminder for
because they do destroy the lining of the intestines. Your villi go away, so you lose that absorptive surface. And you have to get off those grains. I just apologize to all the farmers because I was one. I apologize to the farmers. They can still grow wheat, butter, and oats, but they have to feed it to animals that they're only going to feed for 3 months and then send them to market. Okay, use it as animal feed, not for human feed. Okay, wheat, butter, and oats. And no buckwheat, because they have phagopyrenes, F-A-G-O-pyrines, which are worse than gluten. Buckwheat doesn't have any gluten in it, but it has phagopyrenes, which are worse than gluten. Okay, and so it's one of those things where you do have to give up the bad stuff, and you have to consciously, proactively supplement. So this guy is going to give up the bad stuff. No fried foods, no processed meats, no oils, no glutens, no wheat, no butter, and oats. When I say processed meats, we're talking about bacon and ham and hot dogs and bologna and salami and pastrami and pepperoni, anything with nitrates in it, because that will kill your thyroid gland. That was my first scientific publication, where 500 died in one night because the temperature dropped from in the 50s down to 16 in one night. And 500 sheep just ready to get sheared and go to market, to 6-month-old. They were perfect, everybody healthy, nothing bad going on. And all 500 of them died in the night when the temperature dropped down to 16, even though they had 2 inches of wool in their sheep and so forth, because they've been getting nitrates in their drinking water from contamination from fertilizer from the surrounding farms. I'm a student, and I figured all that out and got it published. Okay, it was my first scientific publication. And Marlon Perkins from the old Mutual Omaha Wild Kingdom show, okay, and Barry Commoner, the head of the Department of Biology at University of Missouri, or Washington University, excuse me, Washington University in University City, okay, St. Louis, actually got a $25 million grant with that article that I wrote on those sheep. And that started everything. And of course, my thesis from that is in the Smithsonian Institute as a national treasure. Let's see here. That's the epigenetics book. Okay. The original book sells for $25,000 each. No, very few people can afford that. Okay. You can get this one, the epigenetics, for $25 each. Okay. It's one of those things where the information will add 25 to 50 healthy years to your life. And so this group, epigenetics, has replaced the science of genetics. Genetics was a false theory. Again, like the cholesterol. Genetics was a false theory. When doctors didn't know something, they say, oh, it's genetics. It's your body attacking itself. Oh, it's autoimmune. Your body's attacking itself. Because they didn't ever want to say they didn't know. They were all knowing. They were medical doctors. And so the epigenetics changed all that. And so I'm very, very proud to be one of the founding fathers of that science. And it was based on the studies that we did at Washington University in St. Louis County. Okay, it was just a big, 10 years, 20,000 autopsies. And what should I say? It just changed all of medical science. I'm very proud of that. Okay, so I hope that answers the question.
I think so. So, well, I mean, he's experiencing gluten. I mean, he's experiencing bloating and digestive issues.
Oh, yeah. So basically, he needs to get off all the gluten, needs to get off all the fried foods and, all the bad stuff, sugar and carbonated drinks and oils and all that kind of stuff. Get rid of all the bad foods. We have the book, Dr. Wallach's Cooking Without the Bad Foods, 300 pages of safe recipes and safe cooking methods. Dr. Wallach's Cooking Without the Bad Foods. He needs to get that book. He needs to get the book, Epigenetics. He needs to get the book, The Wallach Revolution. Okay. And then I want him at, you say 200 plus pounds. I want him to actually get our Healthy Brain and Heart Pack. He can take 2 of those per month, the full dose thing twice a day. He needs to get 2 bottles a month of our MSM, so he can take 3 at breakfast, 3 at lunch, 3 at dinner time. They're going to support and promote maintenance repair of cartilage, ligaments, tendons, connective tissue, discs between the vertebrae, bone makes bone itself. And then, and because when you have osteoporosis of the skull, thank you, osteoporosis of the skull, squeezing the tense cranial nerve, the vagus nerve, you get what's called gastroparesis. You get belching, bloating, burping. I mean, tremendous stomach pain. It'll bring you to your knees, and doctors think you have an ulcer, but it's just osteoporosis of the skull squeezing that tense cranial nerve, the vagus nerve. And then let's see here. He can also take our ultimate enzymes, take 2 of those, say 5 or 10 minutes for each meal, a couple ounces of water, and that should help with that also. And then give us a call every couple of weeks and let us know how it's going, because these things that he has will turn around to normal within weeks, within 2 to 6 weeks. It'll all be normal. If he's on medication for high blood pressure, don't cold turkey off of that. But as your blood pressure drops, you can slowly reduce medication. If he's got diabetes, and don't cold turkey off that medication, but as the blood sugar slowly comes to normal, he can slowly reduce that. But this is all something we deal with thousands of times a day all over the world. We're dealing in 80 countries, and this is a very common scenario.
Yes, it is, Dr. Wallach. I experienced it myself years ago.
Well, there you go.
So thankfully, I have that behind me. Let's go to Rosemary, who we have again with us today. Rosemary, go ahead and unmute yourself. You're on live with us. Try again.
There it is. Okay, well, first off, I want to thank you for yesterday's program. It was very, very informative.
Thank you.
And I really enjoyed it. She talked about a client or patient of hers who had a prolapsed bladder.
Yes.
Well, 30 years ago, I was diagnosed with a prolapsed uterus.
Mm-hmm.
Are they similar? What's the?
Yeah, well, the same cause. You're missing things that make the tendons and ligaments do their job, hold everything's in place. And when you have a prolapse, you have a hernia. This is because you're missing things that are required to keep your tendons and ligaments and connective tissue strong and doing their jobs. Okay. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like anytime, you have a yo-yo and you leave it go and it'll go down to the bottom of the string. Okay. That's the same as a prolapse. With a yo-yo, you're supposed to bounce it back up so it'll wind back up, okay, and get it again. Okay. But you can't do that with your uterus. You can't do that with your bladder. What you have to do is actually get pads and everything to hold everything in place. What you want to do is when you sleep at night, put a 4x4 under the feet of the bed. So gravity is pulling the uterus and the bladder back into your belly, into your pelvis area. Okay. But you wear that hernia device. Okay. And it'll hold things into place. And that way you won't actually get things dirty and injured, and where you have to have surgery and get infections and all kinds of stuff. It's the secondary things that get you when you have hernias. Okay. Those kind of things. So you got to pay attention. Usually people who have those kind of things have white, gray, or silver hair, because the same nutrients that are missing that cause hernias and prolapses also cause a loss of hair color.
Well, okay. This is my natural hair color. I am blonde. I have noticed okay. I am blonde, and this is my natural color. It looks just like it did 30 years ago.
Good.
And 40 years ago. I did notice when I got on the 90 that it stopped it from getting worse. And then I also got on Immortalium, and that actually helped it quite a bit.
Okay. How old are you now?
I'm 77.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I run around with pictures in my purse because people think I'm gray-headed, and I show them what I looked like 50 years ago, and they say, "Oh, same color." So, but it's not painful, it's not deadly, and so I've just been living with it. Doctors want to do a hysterectomy, and I don't.
No, again, you can get pads and with kind of a belt and braces and everything that'll hold things in place during the day when you're vertical. But at night, you want to put that 4x4 under the feet of your bed so gravity helps you pull everything back into where it belongs.
I'll do that. Is there anything else I can do nutritionally that would help?
Yeah. Of course, you need things that are going to be good for your tendons and ligaments and connective tissue. Okay. And you weigh how much again?
So I weigh 125.
Okay. So I'd have you take because you do have a problem the doctors want to do surgery on, I would have you take 2 healthy brain and heart packs a month. I weigh 142 and I do 2 healthy brain and heart packs a month, full dose everything twice a day. I also want you to have 2 bottles a month of our MSM. So you can take 3 at breakfast, 3 at lunch, 3 at dinner time. And they're going to support and promote maintenance repair of cartilage, ligaments, tendons, connective tissue, discs between vertebrae, bone breaks, all that kind of stuff, including all the tendons and ligaments that hold the uterus and bladder into place. Okay. They'll make those ligaments and tendons their normal size and length and strength and so forth. And then let's see here. I also want you to take our collagen peptides, take 2 canisters of that a month. So you can take a scoop of that in your morning drink, scoop of that in your evening drink. Okay. And let's go there.
Okay, I'm on most of that already, so
Again, I'm assuming you're done cycling since you're in your 70s. You don't cycle anymore?
yeah, that's true.
Okay. All right. Now, if you want to, you could also, don't forget the 3 eggs twice a day, but you can
Doing
also,
that.
okay, but you can also throw in the Xerafem. It'll help your glands make some estrogen, and your estrogen is going to help you also keep your uterus in the right place. Okay. Okay. Because it's called Xerafem. And your body weight, you can go ahead and take 3 a day, take 1 with each meal, or you can take all 3 at one meal, whatever you want to do. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you, Rosemary. Keep going. Keep going. Love to hear that you're feeling positive results already. That is awesome. Now, Dr. Wallach, in the comments, there's a question that has to do because you had mentioned nitrates, and they're wanting to know, how about the uncured meats that do not have added nitrates? Are they okay?
Yeah. You can have like salted meats, where you have, things hanging on the line out there, and they've cut meat into strips and put salt on it and so forth. And it's just
Like jerky?
dried jerky. Yeah. Jerky kind of stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
That's fine. Salt is fine. Salt is a requirement. Of course, we like the salt, okay, that has the seasoning in it. It's got the 28 minerals in it. This is from Australia and New Zealand. Okay. Also, once in a while, we'll get the salt from the Himalayan mountains, the Himalayan salt. Okay. But salt is a required nutrient. Any doctor who would say to you, don't take salt because it causes blood pressure, that's absolutely wrong. Sodium is required for the functioning of every cell in your body. Chloride is required in every cell in your body, particularly in your stomach cells that make hydrochloric acid. You cannot absorb minerals. You cannot digest food without hydrochloric acid. The good Lord gave us, okay, the ability to make stomach acid so we could digest food. Okay, so staying away from salt, you're committing a slow, painful, miserable suicide.
Most definitely. And then Margaret had mentioned in the comments here, she said that her son was sensitive to wheat 36 years ago, and they found that it was even in common licorices that are red that were so tasty. I mean, they hide gluten and wheat products, rye, barley, oats, and so many different things that sometimes it's just occurs in those natural flavorings. So
Yeah,
you want to make sure that you're really reading labels.
Yeah, well, doctors are giving out misinformation that the salt is bad for you and gluten is good for you. Okay. The whole grains are good for you. Wheat, brown, rye, oats, the breakfast of champions, Wheaties, Cheerios. Okay. And then, of course, there was the spaghetti and bread and pancakes and waffles. I mean, that's why I was so sick when I was 9 years old. I was eating waffles and spaghetti and Wheaties and oatmeal every day. And it's amazing I didn't die. Okay.
Me too. I was eating it all the time. And then, so a topic for the future, Dr. Wallach, we will be studying up on the different natural alternative sweeteners like xylitol and erythritol and monk fruit. So we've got some questions in regards to sweeteners. So we're definitely going to be covering that also in a future episode of
Yeah.
Daily with Doc.
Yeah, we'll put together the information. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. And we love questions. We love comments. So we want to make sure that we are providing information that is something you're looking for. All right. You have questions, go to dailywithdoc.com. Yes, I got it right. And use that contact us and send us a message of the things that you are interested in knowing about, learning about. If you have specific health concerns and you are not already working with a health coach, you can feel free to use that contact us. We will make sure that we get information to you or bring it on the air as a question so that Dr. Wallach himself can use your question to teach others around the world for many, many, many years, Dr. Wallach. I love how we can do one recording and it can be shared 1,000,000 times and watched 1,000,000 more.
Well, this is a blessing to have this talent that you and your team has to put together these tools that they'll be around for 1,000 years after we're gone. And I'm just very, very excited about that. And so we do have other projects that are coming. It's going to blow people's minds. Okay, the projects we have coming out here pretty quickly, they're near done, and I'm so excited about this. And the whole idea is to build this inventory, this library, if you will. And of course, my thesis that I did that sells for $25,000 each, that big $25 million project at Washington University in St. Louis, that's in the Smithsonian Institute as a national treasure. Does your doctor have a thesis in the Smithsonian Institute as a national treasure? Now, I'm not trying to brag, but I'm just saying somebody thought my research was of some value. They put it in the Smithsonian Institute as a national treasure. And I'm in the process of finding out how many people have a thesis in the Smithsonian Institute as a national treasure. I'm particularly looking for how many medical people, how many doctors, how many nurses, how many pharmacists, and you might help me with that because you're very good at that sort of stuff, Rebecca. Let's find out how many people have do use a computer. Okay, and it's one of those things where how many people have their thesis in the Smithsonian Institute as a national treasure? I guarantee it's not a lot. Okay, and so I'm very, very proud of that. But it just tells you that all the things we're talking about are important. You don't get put into the Smithsonian Institute as a national treasure if what you're saying is frivolous.
It's true. They do a little bit of fact checking, Dr. Wallach.
Yeah.
Just maybe a little bit. So we have another question, Dr. Wallach, and I think Marilyn has her hand up to ask it for us. Marilyn.
Yes, they're in the chat. And Irene asked a question. She's a female, 70 years old, 140 pounds. And she wants to know why she has to run to the bathroom every half an hour. She drinks a lot of water to be hydrated.
Okay, that's very easy. Do you know if she has any ringing in the ears or any balance problems?
She doesn't mention anything else. I don't know if she wants.
You have to ask her these questions.
Let's see if we can get Irene to come on with us. Irene, can you go ahead and unmute yourself?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, Irene, thank you for coming on. Do you have any ringing in your ears, any tinnitus or ringing or roaring or buzzing in your ears?
A buzzing like a seashell.
Okay, like listening to the seashell. Okay, and then do you ever? Let's see here. Do you also? You wake up at night to urinate 3, 4, 5, 8, 10 times?
At least 3 times.
At least 3 times, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Then, do you have any balance problems, any vertigo, any dizziness? Do you need a walker or a cane or
no.
Anything like that?
No.
Okay. Do you have any trouble swallowing? Do you have your voice changed, anything like that?
No,
Okay. Do you have an irregular heartbeat or a slow heart rate or a fast heart rate?
no.
Okay, good. Well, you have osteoporosis of the skull.
Yeah.
Okay. The osteoporosis of the skull is squeezing your spinal cord. That's why you're having these issues with polyuria. Okay. Because your skull is squeezing your spinal cord. The spinal cord is telling your urinary bladder to urinate. I know you don't have a prostate problem because you're a girl. Girls don't have prostate glands. Now, if you're a boy, the first thing that the medical doctors want to do, oh, we got to do a biopsy to see if you have prostate cancer and blah, 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 blah. But they got to bite their fingers when this happens to a lady because you don't have a prostate gland. Okay, but the skull is squeezing the spinal cord because the skull is made in the brain, comes out of the back of the skull. And this is where you need to get a hold. You'll understand this. You get a hold of the book and the CD that there you go, that Rebecca and Dr. Milan and I have done. Okay, it's all in your head. And it goes into 37 different diseases, 17 of which occur from the skull down the spinal cord. Okay. Now, when you get osteoporosis of your knees, you get a double knee replacement. When you get osteoporosis of your hips, you get a double hip replacement. You get osteoporosis of the skull, can they give you a double head replacement? Of course not. So doctors don't want to talk about osteoporosis of the skull, even if they know about it, but I don't think they teach that in school to medical school. I'm the guy that discovered this. And this book is one of our best sellers here. It just sells like crazy because people say, well, that's me. And the doctor just says, I'm getting old. I got to get used to it. No, it's because you have osteoporosis of the skull squeezing those nerves and squeezing the spinal cord. And it all goes away very quickly when you take the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack, you take the MSM, you take the collagen peptides, you take the vitamin D3. Don't forget the synaptive. Take 3 of those twice a day so your brain cells can talk to each other. Don't forget your I-26 so your brain cells can talk to each other. Okay. And with memory and all that kind of stuff, and you know what they need to do in proper form. And so the I-26, I take 3 of those a day, one breakfast, one lunch, one dinner. Sometimes I'll just take all 3 at lunchtime, along with some cheese sticks. It tastes good. They're not much. They don't taste like candy, but they're pleasant. Okay, they're about the diameter of a quarter. They're chewables. They're only a millimeter thick, but they're the flat diameter like a disc. Okay, like a quarter, and they're chewable and they're pleasant tasting. I'll just say they're pleasant tasting. Okay, I don't get the big kick out of the taste, but they're pleasant. They don't taste bad. They're not bitter. They're not yucky. Okay, and so this is something that you will be able to very quickly resolve your problems.
All right. Thank you so much, Irene, for coming on and letting Doc ask you a few more questions, because it's those symptoms. You'll notice that Dr. Wallach is asking symptoms about different parts of the body. And when you think about it, it just totally makes sense, because you've got the vagus nerve that comes here out of the brain, goes down the spinal cord. You've got all the little branches that are going to every single part of the brain, the body. So if something's happening up here in the brain, how can it not affect things down lower? You'd call it downstream, Dr. Wallach.
Yes, that's downstream stuff.
So it totally makes sense. This is something that I was dealing with. And as I was going through all these different conditions that are listed here on the book, I'm like, no, yes, no, all the different things that I could say yes to. And then as time progressed, we found more and more things that had these symptoms. Dr. Wallach did. And I'm like, okay, we've got the books. We can't just put it in the book. Let's do a CD, and added the CD to the book that has more. So with the next edition of It's All in Your Head, there will be additional that are added on there. And that just means we have to do another CD, Dr. Wallach. I know somebody that knows how to do that. And I think she works pretty cheap. So there we go. It's all about getting the information into the hands of people that it can help, folks. And that's what this program is all about. Dr. Wallach, I know that our time with you is here running short. We just thank you so much again for another 50 minutes of information that we can utilize and not just survive, but actually thrive. So thank you, Dr. Wallach. I appreciate you so much.
Well, we're family. Thank you and your team. And thank you, all of our followers and listeners, all of our longevity people, because the world needs you. The world needs you. This information must get out there. And that's why we're doing as many books and CDs and videos and all the things we can do. And of course, this program, let's see here, Daily with Doc, 5 days a week. Holy moly, this is very good stuff. Thank you so much.
And we're live with video, and we are being live streamed, broadcasted on many different platforms. So folks, make sure that you're following us on YouTube. Dr. Wallach, I'm going to go ahead and let you go.
Okay, thank you.
So you can get to your next program. But make sure that you're following us on YouTube and Rumble and, oops, I did the wrong one. Hold on. I'm getting rid of you. He's making fun of me now, folks. There we go. Thank you so much. And if I could get my co-hosts who are helping me out on that one to come on stream with me, I just want to give them a great big shout out and thank you, because without them, I would not be able to do this. There are so many different moving parts here. We've got our executive of production that makes sure that all the streams are working. We have Marilyn, who is part of a production team here, who makes sure that people are getting information in the chat. And who's not with us, we have Jonty. He is our technical advisor, who is just the master when it comes to websites and all things production. So SunPowered Productions, if you're ever looking for a production company to help you with your digital marketing, is my #1 recommendation. So on behalf of the Daily with Doc show, my name is Rebecca Dukes, and we invite you to get back with the person that shared this program with you. If there is nobody to thank, go ahead and go to dailywithdoc.com, and there we have all of our replays. We have the 10 good foods, bad foods list, because I know Dr. Wallach goes through it really fast. Sometimes we need something to print out so we can put it on the refrigerator, or you can even download and save it so that it's on your phone anytime you go to the store. You have that available. And if you have questions or you'd like to get started working with a certified holistic health coach, use that, contact us, and you will get information that will connect you with somebody that can best fit you where you're at, because we don't just pile things on to pile things on, folks. You as an individual are an individual with individual needs, and we make sure that you're getting what you need to get the best optimal results. So until tomorrow, bye for now.